Hello everybody, Brad Johnson here, and in this video I'm going to be talking about a pretty big topic, and this topic today is about humanity's role with God. So again, as we begin this journey, and as we understand the nature of a human being being put on this planet, a beautiful world, a world that, as I have talked about before, would be seen as a God world. And when we look at the man, the woman, the child, we were built for something very, very special. We were created for something unimaginable if we're looking at it intellectually. But we are indeed a vessel for God. That is our nature. That's who we are as a race, as a civilization upon this planet. When we look at our role altogether, this is again why we were put here. If we look at the analogy of a spider, right? I'll draw a little bit of a rough one right here. Okay? A spider is well known for its web, creating a spider's web. That's its design, that's its nature, that's its very fundamental purpose for being, is creating a web, a beautiful intricate web, catching insects, feasting upon them, right? Keeping an equilibrium of balance. And again, I could name probably 1,000 different other animals as well too. They all have their own appropriate purpose, their own nature in that way. Well, humanity does as well. And our nature is indeed to be a vessel for God, which means all of humanity, if we were to look at a rainbow, would represent the entire spectrum of that rainbow. Meaning that we are able to go into the deepest levels of contrast and create as God creates. So what happened? Why aren't we doing this today? Why aren't so many people now following something like the example of what Jesus came here to do? Why aren't we doing that? Well, because we live inside this bubble. And this bubble is referred to as the mortal sphere. This is the mortal sphere. And this is what is preventing us from understanding that we truly are gods. Now, when I'm talking about you truly being God or gods, it goes to the point where we can perfect our being so much that the idea of man, woman, and God are one. Man and God are one. The Son is the Father is the Son. The daughter is the mother is the daughter. They become one. They are unified in consciousness. This is how deep we can go. We become a unified consciousness through our consciousness and through God's consciousness, and we become one. But as we have this mortal sphere around us, we have been taught for many generations that we are fragile, that we are feeble, and that we need to just completely tune in to physical reality, to the material realm, to the mortal realm, that we're born, we live our life for a short time, and then we kick the bucket, and then we're dead as a doornail. And we have accepted that for many thousands and thousands of years, believing that we are just a mortal species. We come into being, we do some really neat things throughout the entirety of life, but then we kick the bucket. But then we're done. We're finished. Finito, the body is no more. Oh, guess maybe I'll go off somewhere in the spirit, or maybe I'll decide to come back to Earth into another body and do this all over again. Well, you can, if that is your choosing. And so we do it again, and 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 again, and again, and again, and again, and again, all based upon our choosing, all part of our voluntary process to go to different dimensional earths and incarnate again, and again, and again, and again, and again. Well, when does it end? When is it finished? When is it completed? When do we say, okay, if I'm choosing as a volunteer to go back again, and then back again, and so on, and so on, and so on, why? Why should I continue to do this if I feel that I'm just a mortal person? And maybe I need to raise more family. Maybe I need to live in the southern hemisphere. Maybe I want to live where it's tropical. And I want to go do this, and I want to take care of that. And as we look at all these things, we say, well, these really are a lot of selfish deeds, because it's all about, well, what do I want? What kind of family do I want? How much money do I want to make? Do I need to have a big car? Do I need to have more sex? Do I need to go live at this place here? Go down to this beautiful country and buy a home here, etc. And it all just becomes very, very selfish. And we just start stacking it up. It stacks up over and over again, different dimensional earths, different voluntary states of choice for us to come back. And we could spend some time in spirit for a while as well too. Get certain things arranged there, and then we'll decide, oh, I'll come back to earth again, we'll do some more stuff. And I do it again, and I do it again, and I do it again, right? Here is the light. Here is the light that is God. Rather than us going to that light, we do loop-de-loops. And we just keep going around and around and around, preventing ourselves from moving into oneness, at one-ment with God. We continue these loop-de-loops. They don't end. They don't stop. And there is a reason for that. Because man, woman, humanity, in their original design, were meant to be eternal. We are meant to be eternal beings, to live forever. The original concept was never to feel like you would grow old, become mortal. That was never a concept. That was never within our original design. It's to move into the state of growing old, of having the body perish, and then having to start all over again. We had the choice to live for as long as we chose to, and leave the body if we chose to, and go deeper into spirit if we chose to, right? Everything is choice. But again, through this mortal sphere, we have all of these artificial systems. These artificial systems that tell us what to do, what to say, how to act, what to think, how to feel, etc. And again, it moves into the sheep mentality. We get into trance. We get into hypnosis. We become a sheep man, a sheep woman, right? And we just start following where we feel the mortal agendas must lead us. And so we just become no more different than a sheep. Again, that was never ever part of the agenda. So how do we break past this mortal sphere? You have to remember your true nature. And your true nature is that you hold God within yourself. That your very nature is that of a God man, a God woman, right? Daughter of the Most High, son of the Most High. And that you house God within yourself. How do I do that, Brad? How exactly do I bring God light, God power, directly into myself? Well, that is focusing, praising, loving, appreciating, blessing, worshiping God within you every single day. Every single day. Which means that if you have a top of a mountain here of focus, the very summit of that mountain is God. regards to Focus Mountain here. This is what's the most important, is you're at the top of the summit and you are praising God. You are blessing God. You are appreciating God. You are contemplating God. You are living God. And as you do that every single day, everything that brings love, joy, happiness, peace, compassion, I could go on. Peace, compassion, all of this, your perfect moment, what you feel throughout the day, representing all of this, you share with God. You give that to God, right? So here you are, and you just feel something really loving. You feel like you remember a beautiful moment when you were holding a baby in your arms, and you saw that little baby looking back at you, and your heart was so warm. You couldn't stop smiling. Well, to God. I give that to God. I give that to God. The moment when I got married, the moment when I had my first child, the moment when I went to the prom, the moment when I got my first car, whatever it is, something that brings out a joyful experience with you. And it just feels like it was so perfect, it was so amazing. It's like, oh my God, thank you, right? To God. And I share that with God every single day. I contemplate what it is to be God. I look at the creation around me. I look at the trees. I look at nature. I look at the sky. I look at the oceans. I look at the beaches. I look at all the land. I look at all the creatures of the earth. And I see that all of them have been created through God's ability to bring life. And I'm thankful for that. I am grateful to that. I feel that love flowing through me. And that goes directly to God. And I say every single time, to God, to God, to God, either out loud or in my mind. Right? We build up that essence. We build up Spirit's connection, Spirit's very dwelling within our being by thanking God every single day, by contemplating God every single day, by praising God every single day. And now we see our body as a temple. It is a temple, it is a church, it is a house. And through this temple, church, house, dwells God within. So God is within me. I am seated at the back of my heart, seated on a throne, representing the Christ consciousness. And I am inviting God into my body, which means I'm cleaning myself up, which of course I've talked about a lot in my previous videos, about working with your physical self, your emotional self, your mental self, right? I've talked about that. We don't need to go into it so deeply here. Okay? And you are perfecting this vessel. It's like what I've talked about with the youth body, right? You're seeing yourself as a youth body every single day, and your physical body temple will reciprocate that feeling because you're programming the cells. You're programming the body. You're giving it commands, telling it that I am youthful again. I am young. I am beautiful. I am youthful. I feel amazing. My vitality is through the roof, and I feel it. And now your body reciprocates that, right? I've done it, and I feel that vitality. I feel that youthfulness, that joy, okay? Well, we're doing the same thing. We're bringing God into our body. We're bringing God into our church, into our temple, into our house. And you are telling God to radiate perfect light of God through every cell, through every molecule, through every atom, through every subatomic particle of your very being. And you are telling God to house yourself here, to be in this body temple, because this body temple is built for God. This is the house of prayer. This is the church of worship. This is the temple of spirit. It is your own body temple. It is not something outside. It is not an outside erected church or an outside erected temple or anything of that nature, right? We go there and we may want to enjoy each other's company and share in prayer, etc. That's fine and dandy, right? But the true church, the true temple, the true house of God is you. It is the temple that is not built by human hands, right? It's our temple. It's our body. That was built by God's hands, but not by ours. So as we work with God, as we become one with God, and God comes into us, God is now dwelling inside his church. He is now dwelling inside his temple, his house. God, the Mother, the Father, the Creator, Allah, whatever you want to call it. It's fine. It's one. It's the one Creator. Okay? And as we start to do this a lot more, this mortal sphere starts to crack. There are cracks and there are breakages upon the mortal sphere because we are bringing so much love into ourselves. We are bringing God into ourselves. And as we start to do this more and more, we can talk to God. God starts to communicate with us, starts to have a conversation with us. We close our eyes and we feel God with us. We feel like another presence is indeed within our body temple. That is what we want to talk to, because that is God within. Okay? He is not up in the heavens. He is not some bearded fellow ready to pitch a lightning bolt at you if you don't worship him. Okay? That's man's God. Okay? When I am talking about God, I am talking about the true God. I am not talking about a conqueror God. I am not talking about gods. I feel that you need to bring them sacrifices or anything of that nature. That's distortion. All right? The true God does not need sacrifices. The true God does not feel that he relies so much on your worship, and if you don't worship him, then he's going to condemn you to hell. Okay? That is all a bunch of religious BS. Okay? Those are doctrines, those are dogmas used for control. And many people on my channel, I'm sure, are already aware of this. Okay? So, we are a vessel for God. We are perfecting our temple, which means we are clearing out all of the mortal dilemmas within our life. We are no longer seeing ourselves as mortal beings. We have the ability to live forever. We can live in this body temple for as long as we choose to, which means we do not decide the nature of our orientation of our body's prime condition by assigning age to it, right? So I'm this age, I'm so-and-so, I'm this number, etc. Numbers now don't mean anything, right? I could say I'm 85 years old, doesn't matter. I feel as young as an 18-year-old, and I can continue to live. So we're no longer controlled by the aspect of the mortal principle that says this is who you are. You're this little sheep right here. And you got to obey everything that the government tells you. You got to pay attention to everything that the mainstream media tells you, etc. Because that is what's going to cause this little sheep to decay, to rot, and to turn back to dust, returning to the earth. Right? So we have the choice of living that life if we want to. No one's going to complain about you deciding to live a mortal life. And if that's the life you want to live, well then there's really no point in you watching this video, right? But we have the ability to transcend this in this lifetime, in this very moment, to transcend this entirely, to no longer be a mortal being. That the shell of the mortal sphere cracks, and now we come into the eternal. Now we come into spirit. And humanity can now start becoming the vessel for God. That is our original intention. Humanity's role with God is to be gods themselves. Right? And that you move so deeply past the idea of mortality, you clear out all of these fallacies, all of these imperfections, all of these flaws, from your physical body, from your mental body, from your emotional body. All of it gets cleared away. And what remains is a perfected being. This is you becoming Christ. This is being a Christ. And as a Christ, you are an anointed one who knows God. You are an anointed one who converses with God. You are an anointed one who is God. I am, and that too, just by itself is powerful, God. Right? And this is what you live by every moment of every day. I am God. And as I am God, and as I am making this decision to perfect this body, to perfect myself, to welcome in my heavenly parent, because my heavenly parent is so giving, so loving, so kind, so compassionate, so merciful, so graceful, so beautiful, so young, right? The essence of innocence. Because God is all those things, so am I. God is this, therefore I am. God is love, therefore I am love. God is beauty, therefore I am beauty, right? God is, therefore I am. Okay? You are God, and God is you. It's exactly what Jesus means when he says that I am in the Father, and the Father is in me. He was unified God-man. He was the Christ, unified together with God. And this was his entire focus, wasn't anything else. God was on his mind all the time, and he conducted himself as God. He went into a God body, and he walked this earth as God in the greatest way that we can express it. And that this is not as difficult as people believe it is. What makes it difficult is a person's allure to the mortal world. But then others may say, well, come on, there's got to be other races. There's got to be other civilizations that can do what we do. Nope. You will never find another race on another planet that does what we do. Cannot be done. You will find hybrids. You'll find beings that have hybrid genetics of humanity within their own civilization, for example. But they will only be able to do so much, right? If this is the full spectrum, then maybe they'll have maybe about 2 or 3 rays that they can do, or little chunks, little bits here and there that they can do through the human genetics that they have. No, it is the pure-blooded humans. It is the original humans that are the most powerful. So again, many of us get very carried away with the idea of saying, oh, one day we'll connect with ETs, we'll connect with extraterrestrials, we'll connect with extra dimensionals, and they can teach us so much. Nope. They're going to help you along to integrate yourself into galactic society, into galactic community. They'll mentor us in a certain way to getting understanding of what it's all about. But when we look at our star brothers and sisters, again, we could call them ETs if you want. I just refer to it as star family. Okay? They are in reverence to us. Okay? They are prostrating on the floor and just bowing to us. And we are royalty to them, right? Some of them are even afraid of us. Some of them are so afraid of humanity. It's like, my God, if I go near a human, he could blast me away. It's the son and daughter of the Most High. I'd be screwed. I don't want to go near a being that powerful. And some will actually feel that way, right? They don't want to go near a human because they feel a human could just snap his fingers and wipe you off into existence. Okay? Some feel that way because they know how powerful we are. In fact, the ones that really don't know how powerful we are is ourselves. Okay? So many of the beings, star brothers and star sisters of the cosmos, are very much aware of how powerful we are. And they're trying to remind us of how powerful we are. Because this true God power is about love. It is about compassion. It is about joy. It is about happiness. It is about serving others. Right? That's the true God nature. You know, we can even look at the golden rule. Do unto others as you would like them do unto you. Okay? Well, that's exactly what we are doing relating to us becoming vessels for God. But even more than just becoming vessels is we are God. Right? We are not just gods, right? G-O-D-S. God. When you are truly one, at one-ment with God, as Christ, you are God. Period. Like this, I am God. Which means you are the God. And you are as powerful as the God, because you are unified as man God, woman God, and you are God. Right? This is the most liberating thing you can ever say to yourself, is to say, I am God. Because if you say, I am God, everything's possible. Everything's available to you. You're free. You're boundless. You're walking this earth in perfection. If you say, I am not God, well then, you're shackling yourself. And I've talked about this before. Right? So we want to be able to say this with great love. I am God. The Father is in me, and I am in the Father. The Mother is in me, and I am in the Mother. The Creator is in me, and I am in the Creator. God is in me, I am in God. Of course, Jesus got ridiculed very heavily for that, for even saying that, for even suggesting that. Right? Because they just thought, oh, he's just a man, he's trying to make himself out to be God, and all that. He was. He was God. He portrayed himself in every shape, way, and form as God on this planet. That's why he was able to do all the things he was able to do. And he even said, there will be those who will do what I do, and will be even greater than I. It's that time, folks. It's that time for you to start embodying, to make that body temple a house of God, and radiating that God power, that God potency throughout yourself. And the more that you bring your love, your commitment, your joy, your happiness, your love, your absolute dedication to God, the greater you will become. Right? Because this is again how God works. God spoils his children, her children. Okay? God spoils them like crazy. This is why we have an earth here. Again, is bowing to us. She's bending her knee and saying, my children, I give you everything for free. I freely give. Okay? It's man's laws. They're saying, you got to pay for this, and you got to pay for land, and you got to do this, and blah, 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 blah. Those are man's laws. It's not the earth's, right? Earth follows God's laws. And earth will continue to produce. She will continue to make available all the beautiful forms of life here that is for man, that is for humanity, right? All of this is for us. But we restrict ourselves with man's laws. We restrict ourselves with rules and regulations and agendas and all this stuff, and feeling that we own property, and we own this land, and we own these farms, and we own this food, and all of this has to be owned, and sell, monetization everywhere. And that's not the earth. The earth is not doing that. The earth is not sending you a bill, a tree passing you a bill and say, here you go, $5,000 for looking at the ocean? Come on, earth. What are you doing here? Right? Earth will never do that. The universe. We look at the universe. And it is as the earth. The universe bows its knee to humanity and saying, all this is here for you to command. So the earth looks at you and says, you can command me to do anything, and I will do it for you. No questions asked. Right? The galaxy says the same thing. God, man, you can ask anything of me, and I will give it to you. No questions asked. The universe stretches itself out, bowing its knee down to you. God, man, you can ask anything you want of me, and I will give it to you. No questions asked. You guys need to contemplate that for a minute. Okay? If every single thing on this planet is meant to serve us, if every single thing in the galaxy is meant to serve us, if everything in the universe is meant to serve us, we command it all. Does that not tell you how mighty you are? how powerful you are, how incredible you are, how perfect you are. And you see yourself as this dinky little mortal man, mortal woman, right? Not even close. That is like a king or a queen going out and has his or her gigantic majesty of a castle, land that just stretches far and wide, but she goes out into this little shack, right? It's a very tiny shack, it's very smelly, it's dilapidated, it smells horrible, right? This little tiny shack, worse than an outhouse, smells worse than an outhouse, and we're going inside that little shack. And we're like, this, oh, please don't hurt me, please don't hurt me, please don't hurt me, please, I don't want to do anything, blah, 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 blah. And now, you have your servants opening the door and saying, oh, Your Majesty, what are you doing? Oh, shut the door, I don't deserve this. You don't deserve, what the hell are you talking about? I don't deserve any of this, I don't deserve any of it. It's not mine. Of course it's yours. This is your castle, this is your land. It was given to you by the earth. You command shut up. And you're inside this smelly little wooden shed. That is so out of place. Okay? You have to see this mighty castle that stands. Right? This mighty castle here. It's absolutely beautiful. It shines and it's beautiful as anything you can imagine, like an ivory castle, just floating in the sky. And there's like this crystal land that just surrounds it. And it's beautiful, and it's majestic, and it's wonderful, and it's pure, and it's perfect, and it's yours, right? And you can add to that castle, and you can bring more to you. And you help out your subjects, you help out the people in your life. You bring them love. You are able to heal any particular injury through instant accomplishment, through thought action, which I'll be getting into in the Spirit Ambassador classroom in November. And you can do all these amazing things. You can see everything in abundance. It's like a kaleidoscope vision. You can pull out bread here in this basket, and here's bread in this basket, and here's cheesecake here on a plate, and here's another cheesecake on a plate, and here's this thing here on a plate, and here's this thing on a plate, and you're just pulling it out of the ethers, giving thanks to every single one of them, and every single person in your castle is fed constantly, right? You give them a vegetarian platter, right? You give them a nice cheesecake. You give them some wine, you give them some sparkling water, whatever it is. You keep pulling it out, pulling it out, pulling it out. You see it, you see it, you see it. Here you go. It's for everybody, it's for everybody, it's for everybody. It's exactly what a God-man, God-woman can do. Okay? One who is with God can do just like what I described. Jesus was able to do it regarding the bread and the fish. Okay? We can do that. So, we are looking at something so incredible, so perfect, with us realizing we are God. Why do we stick to this? Right? Why do we stick to the mortal sphere? Because that's all we feel that we deserve. We put ourselves down. And again, this goes back into the emotional healing, the mental healing, the physical healing. Right? We don't see ourselves as this greatness. We feel it's for somebody else. We feel we need somebody outside to make things better. It's not going to happen. God dwells within your house, within your church, within your temple that is of flesh. Okay? This is God's house, and you are making it pristine. You are making it pure. You have any ailments, you have any injuries, God works with you, clears it away in an instant. Okay? Even your deep core emotional issues that you're now able to bring to the surface and bring forgiveness to, gone. God is able to clear them all away. Not a trace left over when you go that deep and you bring forgiveness to it. Okay? And that's our true nature, guys. This is who we are. Humanity's role with God is that we can be God. We are the most powerful race there is. Humanity is it. So again, I really just want you to focus and reflect back on everything that has been shared in this video today about how powerful you truly are. How you are a vessel for God. How you are God. How the top of your summit is all about dedicating yourself to God. That you have these palaces and you have these castles and you can make anything happen. right? Look what Jesus was able to do. One Christ upon this planet is known as the most popular person that has ever lived. One of us did that. Okay? What about 100 of us? What about 1,000 of us? 10,000? 100,000? 1,000,000? If you had just 100 Christ beings here on this planet, creating and being at that level like Jesus was at, this entire infrastructure would be dead very, very quickly. And this again is letting you know this is what we do. We bring everything to God. God's the worker. God wants to do the work. We're commanding everything, right? We're bringing forward that command. We're feeling that thought action. We see something is already accomplished and it becomes so. Because God has favored you. Because you brought God into your house. You have brought God into the temple, not created by human hands. And that's the true temple. And that is what brings you into being God yourself. I and the Father are one. I and the Mother are one. Humanity's role with God is to know that you are God. Because we are the only race in all of creation who can become God by being one at one-ment with God. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll speak to you again in another perspective of the now. Take care. Thank you very much for checking out my channel. Below you'll see my links to social media, Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter. You can also go to healingcodecards.com, pick up your own Healing Code Cards body deck, and of course check out my website at newearthteachings.com. Thank you once again, and I'll see you in the next video.